Imagine a city full of life, a place where people go about their days just like you. Now picture one of those people, someone with big dreams and a bright future. They have no idea their world is about to explode, that everything they thought they knew is about to change. This story takes place in a normal town, a place where kids play and families eat dinner together. But something terrible is about to happen, something that will shock everyone and leave a lasting mark. Get ready for a wild ride. A story that will make you think twice about the world around you. It's a mix of good and bad, hope and sadness, people trying to find the truth even when it seems impossible. One minute you're making dinner plans, the next you're in the middle of something crazy, something you'd only see in a movie. This is real life, and it happened right here in a place just like yours. Hey guys, welcome back to your go-to place of dark and captivating true crime stories. We're here at Crimeco to unearth the mysteries that haunt us all, bringing you the stories that'll leave you intrigued. If you dig our content, hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. It helps us keep bringing the chills. Now, grab a drink, snuggle up, and get ready to crack open another crazy case with your favorite crew. All right then, let's dive in. Our case unfolds in Edinburgh, Scotland, a city steeped in history. Imagine cobblestone streets winding past ancient castles and rolling green hills. It's a beautiful place where old-world charm beats modern life. Locals call it Auld Reekie. Edinburgh has two sides. The new town is all fancy shops and elegant Georgian buildings. The old town is medieval, with narrow alleys and hidden secrets. You might hear bagpipes echoing off the stone walls as the smell of delicious Scottish food fills the air. But we're not going to the tourist spots. We're heading to Leith, a bit rough around the edges, but with a good heart. Leith used to be a separate town, but Edinburgh swallowed it whole as it grew. It has a rich history with the sea, full of sailors and dock workers. In the early 1980s, though, Leith was struggling. The shipyards that used to bring jobs were closing down, and people were having a hard time making ends meet. Some folks turned to desperate ways to get by. Leith even had its own red light district, a place where hope and desperation often clashed. Here, under the cloak of night, you might see people on street corners making shady deals or getting into cars with strangers. This is where our story starts. In this complex web of city life, meet Sheila, a young woman with two little kids at home. A 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. Like any mom, she wanted the best for them, but life hadn't been easy. Sheila had dreams maybe of traveling the world or owning a cute cafe. But somehow she ended up in with the wrong crowd, as her family would later say. Before she knew it, she was stuck in a tough situation, making hard choices. Let's rewind to the early 1980s and get to know Sheila Anderson a bit better. Born around 1956, she grew up in a fast-changing world. The Beatles were everywhere, mini skirts were in style, and everyone was talking about going to the moon. Sheila's parents were like many Scots, hard-working folks. Maybe her dad hauled cargo at the docks or toiled in a factory. Her mom likely kept the home running smoothly, making sure meals were hot and clothes were clean. They weren't rich, but they did their best to raise her right. As a kid, Sheila was probably a ball of energy, skipping rope with friends or drawing pictures on the sidewalk. School was likely filled with art classes, or maybe she loved math. Like any child, she had dreams for the future. A teacher, a nurse, or maybe even a movie star. But life throws curveballs. By her mid-20s, Sheila was a single mom with 2 little ones depending on her. Her older child, just 7, was probably full of questions about the world. The younger one, barely 2, was still learning to walk and talk. Being a mom is hard, but being a single mom in 1980s Scotland was even tougher. Jobs were scarce, especially for women with little kids. Sheila, like many others, struggled to make ends meet. She wanted the best for her children, but sometimes it felt like everything was against her. It was during this tough time that Sheila met a new group of people. Maybe it was at a local bar or through friends. At first, it might have seemed like a good escape, a way to forget her worries. But this new crowd introduced her to a darker side of life. Before she knew it, Sheila was stuck in a situation that was hard to get out of. Despite the challenges, Sheila had a fiery spirit. She wouldn't back down. Even when things got rough, this probably helped her navigate the tough world she was in, but it might have also put her in danger. By February 1983, Sheila was 27. She was well known in certain parts of Leith for her strong will and not taking crap from anyone. Little did she know this reputation would be tied to what was about to happen. The sun dipped below the horizon on February 7, 1983, painting the streets of Leith in an orange glow. As day shift workers clocked out, a different kind of night owl started to appear. Among them was Sheila Anderson, a familiar sight in this part of town. Around 11:25 p.m., two police officers on patrol spotted Sheila outside a building called Lindian House. They stopped for a quick chat and noticed she was talking to a man. This short conversation would later become a big clue in the mystery to come. Just a few minutes later, Sheila left with this stranger. No one knew it then, but this would be the last time anyone would ever see her alive. Meanwhile, a short drive away on the coast, a guy with a CB radio was enjoying a night of clear reception. Gypsy Brae, where he was parked, was a popular spot for radio buffs because it offered a clear signal across the water. It was a quiet night, with only the sound of waves crashing and the occasional crackle of radio chatter. But at 11:45 p.m., something sent shivers down his spine. He saw headlights where they shouldn't be, right on the Gypsy Brae promenade, a place cars weren't allowed. Worried and curious, he decided to check it out. What he found would leave him traumatized. There, lying lifeless on the ground, was Sheila Anderson. The radio enthusiast wasted no time calling the police, setting off an investigation that would grip the entire nation. The scene was awful. Sheila's things were everywhere, like someone threw them in a rage. Her watch, right next to her, had stopped at 11:54 p.m., maybe the exact time her life ended. By morning, everyone knew the terrible truth. Sheila had been hurt really badly, and not just once. It looked like she was hit by a car more than once. Her stuff was all over the place, but one thing was missing: her underwear. This detail would become super important later on. Back in Leith, word spread fast about Sheila. Everyone was shocked. How could this happen to someone they knew? Sheila, even though she had problems, was a local person. A mom, a daughter, a friend. Now she was gone, and it felt like a big piece of their community was missing. The police started digging into what happened in Sheila's last hours. They found out about the mystery man she talked to. They figured out where she probably went after. But the big question was what happened between 11:25 p.m. and 11:54 p.m. Those crucial minutes no one could account for. The investigation took a surprising turn when the police examined the evidence. They'd found traces of bright red paint on Sheila's clothes, which meant the car was probably red. But it wasn't just any red. It looked like overspray paint from the underside of a rusty car. This tiny detail became a huge clue for the police. News of Sheila's death scared everyone in Edinburgh and beyond. People were extra careful at night, parents held their kids tighter, and Leith felt like a scary place. No one knew it then, but this case wouldn't just be a big story. It would lead to big changes that would affect everyone for years to come. Sheila Anderson's story was just beginning. The police on Sheila's case were about to enter a world they barely knew. Solving this wouldn't be easy. They'd have to leave their usual routine and head into the dark underbelly of Leith's nightlife. One big problem was that people who might know something didn't want to talk. Many of Sheila's friends lived on the edges, staying away from the police. This wall of silence made it super hard for the investigators to get any leads. But as they dug deeper, they started piecing together what happened in Sheila's last moments. It seemed she met the mystery man at Gypsy Brae, like everyone thought. What happened after that was still a complete mystery. Some of Sheila's friends offered an interesting detail. They said she was known for fighting back when she felt like she was being ripped off. In fact, she even stand in front of cars to stop people from driving away without paying her. This showed that Sheila was a tough woman who wouldn't back down easily. The police started to think maybe Sheila got into an argument with the mystery man about money. Maybe things got out of hand, leading to her death. But with no proof or witnesses, this was just a guess. Luckily, science gave them some clues. The red paint on Sheila's clothes wasn't just any red. It was a specific type used on car underbellies. This meant the car was probably old, maybe even fixed up at home. The investigators also found something shocking. There was a 50% chance the person responsible might have gotten hurt right after the incident. Because of this, they made a strange public plea. They asked people to come forward if their partner suddenly needed medical attention around that time. Things got even more confusing when they found Sheila's missing bag dumped far away, near a major road leading south. This made the police wonder if the person responsible was even from Leith. Maybe it was someone working on the oil rigs or a construction site who left town right after. Weeks turned into months, and the case remained unsolved. But as science got better, so did the investigation. In 2008, 25 years after that awful night, the investigators announced they were using fancy new science to look at the evidence again. This gave a tiny spark of hope to the people who still remembered Sheila. In 2009, there was a major breakthrough that had everyone on the edge of their seats. Scientists were finally able to get a complete DNA profile of the person responsible. This was huge. It meant that if the right person ever got a DNA test, it could be caught. The news sent everything into overdrive. The case was featured on a famous TV show that helps solve crimes. The detective in charge made a public plea, explaining that the DNA profile could help them quickly rule out people who weren't involved. He begged anyone with even a shred of information to come forward. Remember, he said, friendships change over time. People argue. Secrets get spilled that were once hidden. If you know something, anything at all, now is the time to tell us. The investigators didn't give up. They knew someone out there had to know something. They asked people to dig deep into their memories of 1983. Did anyone remember a friend or relative suddenly needing car repairs around that time? Maybe someone had a mysterious injury that needed medical attention. Even the smallest detail could crack the case wide open. The story even reached international audiences. In 2021, the actress who voices Lisa on The Simpsons, Yeardley Smith, made a podcast about Sheila. This brought Sheila's case to a whole new group of people, way beyond Scotland. Despite all these efforts, though, no one was ever arrested. That didn't mean people stopped hoping. In 2022, almost 40 years after Sheila's death, her case appeared on a show called David Wilson's Crime Files. On the show, a retired detective named Tom Wood, who worked on the original investigation, talked about the case. Even after all that time, he wouldn't give up. All we need, he said, is a little push in the right direction, a jogged memory, as someone might say. Hey, wait a minute. I remember something about that night. His words gave everyone a flicker of hope. Even decades later, there could still be justice for Sheila. All it takes is one person, one forgotten detail, one brave moment to speak up. Sheila Anderson's story is more than just whodunit. It's a punch in the gut that reminds us how life can change in a heartbeat, and how one event can ripple outwards, affecting countless lives in surprising ways. For Sheila's family, especially her two young kids who lost their mom way too early, the ache of her absence has never faded. They've grown up without her love, guidance, and support. We can only imagine the questions they've carried, the milestones marked by sadness, and the constant hope that someday they might understand what happened. The case has also left a lasting mark on cops. It's a testament to detectives who refuse to let cold cases gather dust in their hearts. From the 1980s detectives who chased every lead to today's forensic experts using fancy new tech, Sheila's case has inspired generations of law enforcement to never give up on finding the truth. Maybe the biggest change because of Sheila is how we view people in tough situations. Her story made people see these folks as people, not just statistics. It sparked conversations about safety nets, support systems, and kindness in our communities. The safe zones and better cop community relationships are results of these talks. The media keeps Sheila's story alive, from national TV pleas to podcasts all over the world. It shows that people still crave justice and are fascinated by mysteries. But more than that, it keeps Sheila's memory fresh and the hope alive that someday the truth will come out. Looking ahead, there's still a chance for answers. New DNA tech and fancy forensic science are cracking cold cases everywhere. Who knows? The missing piece to solving this puzzle might be right around the corner. For now, Sheila's case remains one of Scotland's biggest unsolved mysteries. But it's about so much more. It's a young mom's life cut short, a spark for change, and a reminder of community and hope. People in Edinburgh and beyond still remember Sheila Anderson. They remember her not just as a victim, but as a whole person, a daughter, a friend, a mother. Her story is woven into the city's fabric, a somber reminder of a life lost and a mystery unsolved. As we close the book on this chapter, we're left with mixed feelings: sadness for the tragedy, respect for those who fight for answers, and hope that someday the whole truth will be known. Sheila's story teaches us about resilience, hope that never dies, and the strength of a community searching for answers. In the end, the case might be unsolved, but Sheila's legacy lives on. It lives on in changed policies, better connections between communities and the police, and in the hearts of everyone who remembers her story. And maybe, just maybe, it lives on in the possibility that one day, someone will speak up with that one crucial detail that finally brings closure to this enduring mystery. All right, guys, before you dash off into the night, don't forget to hit that like button. It lets us know you're digging the content, and that keeps the creepy cases coming your way. While you're at it, smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. You don't want to miss our next dive into the mysterious unknown. Thanks for joining us on this journey. We'll see you on the flip side for another mind-blowing case. Until then, stay curious.